Roller discos in America in the 1970s were everywhere. Empire Roller Disco dominated Brooklyn. Skate town locations multiplied across California. Local rinks transformed into disco palaces. Roller skating was not just convenient, it was part of American culture. The 1970s were the peak of roller disco. Polyurethane wheels were the defining technology. The rinks were physical destinations, and skating was a social event. Teenagers planned entire weekends around it. Roller discos were woven into youth culture, with Friday night sessions, weekend competitions, and birthday party routines. This was before inline skates, before skate parks, before roller derby revivals. Roller disco was a cultural phenomenon, a sensory overload, a social revolution. Let us walk through what roller discos were actually like in America in the 1970s. Let us step into that world. Entering the rink in 1978 was like stepping into a high-budget musical. Unlike the stiff organ music rinks of the 1950s, these venues were built for sensory overload. You pushed through double doors and everything hit you at once. The atmosphere was a sanctuary of light and sound. The centerpiece was always the mirror ball, casting thousands of moving stars across the floor. The lights never stopped moving. Neon tubes lined the walls. Strobe lights pulsed with the beat. Chase lights under translucent plexiglass floors in high-end rinks created a futuristic vibe. You felt like you were skating through space. The lighting was designed to hypnotize and to pull you into the rhythm. Every surface reflected light. Sequined outfits caught the strobes, and the whole room sparkled. The sound system. Rinks invested thousands in massive, bass-heavy sound systems. The music was not just background noise, it was a physical force. You felt the bass in your chest. The speakers were stacked from floor to ceiling. The volume was overwhelming. The playlist was dominated by Donna Summer, the Bee Gees, Chic and KC, and the Sunshine Band. I Will Survive, Le Freak, Stayin' Alive, Get Down Tonight. These were not just songs, they were anthems. The DJ booth was elevated, visible to everyone. The DJ controlled the entire vibe. Fast songs for circling the rink, slow songs for couples skating. The music determined everything. The floor itself. The rink became a dance floor, polished wood, smooth as glass. Skilled skaters would congregate in the center to perform jam skating, breakdancing on wheels, spins, splits, jumps, all on quad skates. The center was where you proved yourself. The perimeter was for everyone else. You would flow in a rhythmic circle around the edge, counterclockwise, always counterclockwise. The flow was hypnotic. Hundreds of people moving together in sync with the music. If you broke the flow, you would get dirty looks. The floor had rules, unspoken but understood. Polyurethane. Wheels changed everything. Before the mid-70s, roller skate wheels were made of wood, clay, or metal. They were loud, slippery, and they vibrated intensely. You could not turn. You could not stop smoothly. Skating was a painful, jarring experience. Then polyurethane wheels arrived. Plastic wheels. Everything changed overnight. They provided grip. You could lean into sharp turns without sliding out. They provided smoothness. They absorbed shocks. It felt like you were floating on the floor. They were quiet. This allowed the music to take center stage, rather than the roar of wheels. Polyurethane wheels made roller disco possible. Without them, the phenomenon never happens. The fashion. In the roller disco, your outfit was just as important as your skating ability. The goal was to catch the light and emphasize movement. Look good, feel good. The materials were specific: satin, spandex, sequins, and velour, anything that shimmered under a strobe light. The silhouettes were distinct: high-waisted hot pants or short shorts, dolphin shorts paired with knee-high tube socks with colored stripes, bell-bottoms that would flare out as you spun, silk shirts unbuttoned halfway to show off gold chains. The hair was massive, feathered hair like Farrah Fawcett, or huge afros, often topped with a headband to keep sweat out of your eyes during intense hustle routines. You did not just show up in jeans and a t-shirt. You dressed for the occasion. You wanted to be seen, to stand out, to catch someone's eye as you glided past. The skates themselves. Rental skates were basic, tan leather worn and broken in by thousands of feet before yours. They smelled of disinfectant spray and old socks. But if you were serious, you bought your own custom skates. Suede in bright colors, red, blue, yellow, purple, sometimes with pom-poms on the laces or rainbow laces. Your skates were an extension of your identity. You took care of them, cleaned the wheels, tightened the trucks, upgraded the toe stops. Owning your own skates meant you were committed. You were not a tourist, you were a skater. Integration and inclusivity. Roller discos were unique because they were one of the few places in the 1970s in America where different social groups mixed freely. Integration and inclusivity were central to the scene. Urban roots ran deep. Much of the jam skating style originated in black communities in cities like Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles. Rinks became hubs for African American creative expression. Urban culture gave rise to the moves, the style, and the attitude. LGBTQ spaces thrived. Like the broader disco scene, roller rinks were often safe havens for the gay community. They were places to express identity through dance and fashion without judgment. Havens like these mattered. Everyone was welcome. The rink did not care about race, sexuality, or background. If you could skate, you belonged. Welcome on the floor was what counted, a high without drugs. While the 1970s were known for party culture, the skater's high was real. A mix of endorphins and rhythm, it provided a wholesome alternative for many teenagers and young adults. You did not need substances, the music and movement were enough. Hollywood cashes in. By 1979, the craze reached a fever pitch. Studios rushed to capitalize on the trend. Skatetown, USA featured a young Patrick Swayze, and it was marketed as the Saturday Night Fever of skating. The plot was thin, but the skating was spectacular. Roller Boogie starred Linda Blair, and it helped cement the California beach skating aesthetic. Cut-off shorts, tank tops, sunshine. The movie was forgettable, but the imagery became iconic. Cher's Hell on Wheels music video became a massive marketing tool for the industry, with Cher on skates in an outrageous outfit. It was peak 70s excess. Empire Roller Disco in Brooklyn became the Studio 54 of rinks. Celebrities showed up and elite skaters performed. A velvet rope guarded the entrance, and not everyone got in. That exclusivity made the place more desirable. Playboy magazine even hosted roller disco parties at the Playboy Mansion. They built a custom rink with models on skates. It was absurd and perfect. The social rituals. The couple skate was sacred. When the DJ announced couples only, the lights would dim. A slow song would play. You would grab someone's hand or skate alone to the sidelines. If you were single, this was your chance. You would ask someone to skate. Rejection was public and brutal. Acceptance felt like victory. The birthday party tradition. Roller rinks were where you had birthday parties. Your parents would pay for admission and skate rental for 10 friends. You would get a cake from the snack bar. Everyone would sing happy birthday under disco lights. The birthday kid got to pick one song request. It was a standard rite of passage. The decline. The decline of roller disco was swift. It was tied directly to the disco sucks movement in 1979 and 1980. The backlash was real. As disco music became over-commercialized, a rock and roll counter-movement began. Disco Demolition Night in 1979 signaled the end of the genre's dominance. A disc jockey in Chicago blew up disco records at a baseball game. The crowd rioted. Disco was declared dead. Roller rinks scrambled to adapt. The evolution happened fast. By the early 80s, rinks traded disco for new wave and early hip-hop. The high-waisted shorts were replaced by baggy jeans. The hustle was replaced by power sliding. The mirror ball stayed, but the vibe changed and the aesthetic shifted. The golden age was over. Every session began at the skate rental counter. You'd hand over your shoes, size 8, and the attendant would disappear into a wall of cubbies, returning with skates that barely fit. You'd lace them tight, walk awkwardly across the carpet, and then step onto the polished wood. The transition from walking to gliding was magical every single time. The snack bar was essential. You'd take breaks between songs, buy a Coke, order nachos with orange cheese, soft pretzels, or pizza that often tasted like cardboard. The food was terrible, but you were hungry from skating, so everything tasted good. You'd sit on the bench, watch other skaters, and rest your legs. Then you'd go back out. What defined roller disco in the 1970s was the combination of technology, fashion, and inclusivity. Roller disco was not a solitary activity. It was communal, a shared experience. You saw the same people every weekend. You learned their styles, their signature moves. The technology felt revolutionary. Polyurethane wheels made smooth, expressive jam skating possible. Powerful sound systems made the rinks immersive. Lighting and mirror balls made the spaces magical. Fashion was expressive. People wore what made them feel good, what caught the light, what moved with them. The inclusivity was rare. Different backgrounds, different identities, all united by rhythm and wheels. For people who experienced roller disco in the 1970s, the memories are specific. The weight of quad skates on your feet, the sound of wheels on polished wood, the reflection of the mirror ball, the bass vibrating through your body, couples skating to slow songs, the smell of popcorn and floor wax, feathered hair and tube socks, jam skaters in the center pulling off impossible moves. Hollywood tried to capture the magic with stars like Cher on skates. Then came the backlash called disco sucks and the swift decline. The 1970s were the peak of roller disco. Before inline skates, before the backlash, before the evolution into something else. For a time, it was just polyurethane wheels, disco beats, sequined outfits, and American youth culture embracing the rhythm and the glide above everything else.